When you stop recognizing yourself. The tavern was in Braga, Portugal, settled along a stone road that had learned patience long before I ever did. Here, the city doesn't rush you. Bells toll not to hurry people along, but to remind them that they're still here. The Wandering Tavern rested between two narrow lanes, its lanterns glowing softly, as if the building itself were breathing out after a long day. I was coaxing the fire into a steadier flame when the traveler arrived. He stood in the doorway longer than necessary, not unsure of where he was, but unsure of whether he belonged anywhere at all. When he finally stepped inside, the door closed gently behind him, like it didn't want to startle him further. He sat across from the fire. "Lion," he said quietly, "I don't recognize myself anymore. Some confessions don't need answers right away. They need space." So I poured him the drink. I listened, and I let the fire do what it does best: hold things without judgment. In Braga, you can walk past buildings older than entire nations and still feel strangely temporary. "Tell me how it started," I said. He shook his head. "That's the problem. I don't know when. I just know I used to be sharper, clearer. Now I feel like I'm made of compromises." I leaned against the bar. Most people think losing themselves happens after a single bad choice. I met his eyes. It doesn't. It happens after 1,000 reasonable ones. He swallowed. I told him about travelers who came through the tavern full of conviction, then returned years later quieter, smoother, harder to read, not broken, just sanded down by expectations, obligations, and the fear of being difficult. "You did not disappear," I said gently. "You were edited by the world." His shoulders slumped as if the weight finally had a name. "I thought growing up meant changing," he said. "And it does," I replied, "but growing isn't the same thing as shrinking." The fire cracked, sending sparks upward like unfinished thoughts. From the back of the room, Alex moved quietly, wiping down a table that didn't need it. He glanced over once, caught the traveler's eye, and gave a small nod, the kind that says, "You're not invisible here." "I wanted to belong," the traveler said, "so I learned how to be agreeable, useful, low maintenance." "And were you rewarded?" I asked. "Yes," he said softly. "People liked me." "And you?" I asked. He exhaled through his nose. I felt empty. Alex paused near the bar. "Happens when you trade truth for approval," he said softly, then went back to his work. "Belonging that costs your identity isn't belonging, it's endurance." I explained how people lose themselves in quiet ways, by laughing when something hurts, staying silent when something matters, saying it's fine until something becomes true in the worst way. "You weren't weak, you were adapting." "But I adapted too far," he said. "Yes," I said kindly, "and now your soul is asking you to stop." He stared into the fire, watching it move without apology. "What if people don't like me when I stop adjusting?" he asked. The fire didn't flicker. "Then they liked the version of you that made their lives easier," I said. not the version that was real. The truth settled between us, not cruel, but clean. Alex set a fresh log on the fire. The ones worth keeping, he said, won't ask you to disappear. Outside, Braga's bells rang low and steady, like a heartbeat reminding the city it was still alive. So how do I come back? The traveler asked. Slowly, I said, on purpose. I told him not to make grand declaration, not to burn bridges or reinvent himself overnight. Start with one honest answer, I said. One boundary, one moment where you choose yourself without explaining. He nodded the way people do when finally something feels possible. You don't need to find a new self, I said. You need to remember the old one and invite him back. When he stood to leave, his posture hadn't magically changed, but there was something steadier about him now. Thank you, my friend, he said. That's what the tavern is here for, I replied. Alex opened the door for him. Road's quieter this time of night, he said. Good for thinking. The traveler smiled faintly and stepped back out into the world. After he left, the tavern grew still. Alex leaned on the counter. You think he'll manage? He doesn't need to manage, I said. He just needs to listen to himself again. The fire settled into embers. Outside, Braga moved on, ancient and unbothered. Most people don't lose themselves because they're careless. They lose themselves because they're kind. And the bravest thing they ever do is decide they're allowed to come back. My friend, the lanterns will remain lit and the fire will be warm, even when the door closes behind you. Return whenever the road feels heavy or when your heart seeks quiet company. Carry what serves you, leave the rest by the hearth, and know that this place and these words will wait patiently for you. Until then, travel gently and let the night watch over you.